Hi there, my name is Nick Shell. I have a blog called Family Friendly Daddy Blog, and one of the posts I'm doing today is talking about how 43 years ago today, singer-songwriter Jim Croce passed away. And how can you not like his songs? Well, I've got one of his albums. It was the one for VH1 Behind the Music. The first track on that is a song called Which Way Are You Going? It wasn't a big hit for him. I think it was actually more of kind of a lost song. But because it's the first track, I'm very familiar with it, probably more so than most people. But I've got, here on this piece of paper, I've got part of the lyrics written down, which I believe this song was really comparing abortion to war. And I think there's almost a libertarian point of view there to be discovered in this song that's decades old. But in this song, Which Way Are You Going?, Jim Croce says, one hand on the Bible and one hand on the gun. You say you love the baby, but you crucify the man. So I think this is interesting. Now, I grew up as a Republican up until, I don't know how many years ago, let's say probably around that time I was in college, which I'm 35 now, but I started thinking differently and slowly became a libertarian since then. But yeah, I was part of this belief system as a conservative Republican that yes, I'm against abortion, but we better defend America. Don't even question the government on why we're going to war. We're defending America. It doesn't matter that it's on foreign soil and that all of these wars, since Korea, have been on foreign soil. Don't question it. Be American, support our troops, and support this war. So what I feel he's pointing out, and I know Jack Johnson has pointed this out in at least a song or two I know as well, that is it not hypocritical for us to say abortion is ending the lives of unborn children, yet we turn a blind eye to all the civilians that die in war? And not even just civilians, but as Jim Croce points out, the men as well. I was watching this episode of Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown, and there's an episode on North Korea. And it was very fascinating to me because he explores North Korea. He explores the concept that if you were a man during the war, you have your family that you're here to support and provide for. And I mean, your country's in war. Here come the Americans, and you've got to fight them. Not necessarily because you even care about the war, but because these Americans are coming to kill you, and your government for the country that you were born in is basically kind of forcing you to fight this war as well. So what do? You fight the Americans. Not that you necessarily care about the whole point of the war, nor do you understand the point of the war, but you fight the war. And that's just Vietnam, specifically, that he explored. Now, I was born in 1981, in between wars. But what if I wasn't? What if I wasn't born in America in 1981? What if I was born in the wrong country in the wrong decade? What if I was born in Vietnam or North Korea or Russia or anywhere modern day today that houses members of ISIS? Because we have to imagine that as much as we're against ISIS and we're not okay with what they're doing, we have to understand that they are in countries and we're fighting those countries. So it's very easy, if you're not born in America, the way the roulette could have happened is that we could have been born on the wrong side of the tracks. And therefore, we would be the enemy to the US. So I find that fascinating, and before I wasn't able to understand it. Now at age 35, as I've had the ability to process better, here's how I see the world. And of course, this is my opinion. This is not to say this is right or wrong, but this is where I've come to now. Having grown up as a very conservative Republican, here's where I stand now. And I feel that this reflects Jim Croce's song, Which Way Are You Going? As far as, had he written that song to a guy like me, and those words took heart, and then that person was converted to understand what he was trying to say in that song. So here's the way I look at it now. Yes, I am still not in favor of abortion. I understand there's laws in place and all that, but more importantly, what bothers me is that there's a desire for for abortions to happen. That breaks my heart. I'm not here to shut down abortion clinics or anything like that, and I think it's fairly unrealistic to think that we can reverse laws and take that desire away that people want to have abortions. But yes, I am for babies being born. Therefore, I feel it's also hypocritical of me to not question war. I think it's hypocritical for us to think, well, you know what? We need to support our troops in war no matter what. We shouldn't question why we're going to war. We shouldn't question if it's on our soil or not, whether it's been on our soil for decades or not. I feel that there's this sort of concept that to be truly American and to truly support your country, that whatever decisions our country decides to do with our military, that we should just follow it and support it and not ask questions about it. So I think that's dangerous, though. I think that's a dangerous way of thinking, because that's assuming that we're always in the right. I think that's a dangerous thought, to think that we always have the best intentions as we're going to other countries to fight the terrorists or the bad guys, whoever they are, but there's also civilians too. And yet these people aren't, as armies attacking us. Yes, terrorist attacks happen on our soil. Yes, I understand that. But as far as, to me, it's I see both sides of it now. I'm not for abortion. I don't think abortion is a good thing. I understand it happens. But at the same time, if I spent all my time worrying about that and not thinking, but what about these wars that we've been involved with for years? Do we simply support the war? Is it possible to support our military without supporting a war? I think so. That's my stance. I'm all for our military. But at the same time, I guess our military has to follow orders and go to war if the powers be say, we got to go to war. So, I think Jim Croce, who passed away 43 years ago today, what a good point he makes. That if we're going to say that we've got to save the baby, what about saving the man? I will close with this. I have heard this saying before: God bless the U.S. and no one else. And I think that historically, especially conservative America, has sort of adopted that mindset. That somehow the American unborn fetus is worth more than the soul of that child that was born in Vietnam, or whatever wrong country we want to say. That somehow the American soul is worth more than the foreign soul. That God cares more about Americans than he does care of the rest of the world. Especially if that person is one of our nation's enemies. To assume that God is 100% on the U.S. side, no matter what war we get involved in, that those other people, those enemies that Jesus told us to pray for, that somehow those people, their souls, are not worth as much as the Americans. I think collectively, it's easy for us to think that way. And perhaps in the past, I guess I did. But I've had a change of heart. I've grown up since then. I see the world differently. So I'm grateful for this song, Which Way Are You Going by Jim Croce. Just go on YouTube, listen to the song. It's a very simple, short song. But now that I understand where he's coming from, I think it's very challenging, especially if you grew up like I did, being such a conservative Republican, which I no longer am. I'm a libertarian, obviously. At this point, I'm not Democrat or Republican. I'm not Trump or Clinton. So check out that song. Please let me know your thoughts on this. This is simply my opinion. I could be wrong all day long, and that's fine, but I just want to challenge you with this thought today about Jim Croce's song, Which Way Are You Going? And again, Jim Croce passed away 43 years ago today, September 20th, 1973. My name is Nick Shell. Thanks for watching my video, and please comment, tell me I'm right, tell me I'm wrong. Either way, it's just my opinion, so I guess I can't really be right or wrong, right? Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting.